Joe Biden gave a speech to the joint session of Congress last night. It was to mark his 100 days in office, and it was pretty solid. It was pretty solid overall. I was a fan of the speech. I think that the issues that he touched on were very good, but I have heard other presidents say nice things and offer lip service. That wasn't necessarily the reason why I think it's good. I thought it was pretty solid because there were also tangible policy positions or actual pieces of legislation that directly tied to the lip service that Joseph Robinette Biden was talking about. So I found that to be very good, including the PRO Act. He unveiled a signature family care proposal that is also very good and very progressive. An expansion of welfare policies is always good. An expansion of our social safety nets is a necessity and always good. So I liked it. I liked the speech overall. It was reasonable. Unfortunately, the saber rattling against China and Russia was there, but it was mentioned in perhaps the most positive way that you can mention something like that, which was more so to talk about our competitiveness and how America as a nation needs to get its together because we are competing against all these other countries, and we need to, we can't let China outdo us on cybersecurity, or Russia outdo us on cybersecurity. Things that I have talked about before to like rile up the hogs. When remember in the early days of COVID, I would say like I don't think that China created COVID, obviously. However, having said that, even if they did, wouldn't you want to have a better defenses against biological warfare in the future, even if they had done it? And that COVID destroying America right now and the American economy in the way that it does, doesn't that show you that we are no longer the #1 nation and we should probably fix that? That sort of thing. Infrastructure spending that will be up to the standards of the rest of the developing world and even the developed nations. That was a solid way to talk about increasing competition in the international marketplace, like talking about labor reforms from the point of view of making our labor market more competitive. That is a solid way to, create fake controversy or ride the xenophobic points of view or the nationalistic points of view that people have into creating a more equitable society overall. Anyway, let's look at so now that I've talked about my opinion on the Biden speech, let's hear from the true, brave, honest to God, red-blooded Americans, the real Republicans, okay? What the fuck do they have to say about it?
Trigger warning. Ted Cruz. Trigger warning.
The history of socialism, well, is one of failure, of one of unfulfilled promises, more poverty, and then it's a question of how much freedom you give to the government in the name of false promises. Thoughts?
Well, look, I think the speech tonight, you could sum up in 3 words: boring, but radical. The speech by design was
boring but radical, dude. I love that. It's boring but radical. How the fuck is it both radical and boring at the same time? Nobody knows. It's radical to talk about cutting child poverty in half. Do you understand? When I think about people making over $400,000 a year actually getting threatened with audits potentially, I think to myself, that's a radical policy. Let's hear his examples.
Was calm and dulcet tones. I challenge you to remember a single line from the speech. I mean, it was monotone.
Is that why he fell asleep? He did fall asleep.
The chamber was nearly empty, and that really has characterized the first 100 days of Joe Biden, that he's tried to say nothing notable, he's tried to tweet nothing notable. I think that made the political decision that many people were tired of the drama of the previous.
Maybe he thought it was boring because no one directly said like your wife is a whore or something, or ugly. Sorry. You know what I mean? That's the only way that Ted Cruz, Cancun Cruz, will ever perk up.
4 years, and they wanted something calm. And so, but Joe is deliberately being boring, but the substance of what he's saying is radical. This is the most radical first 100 days of any president in the history of this country.
It's relatively progressive, but like nowhere near enough. It's the only reason why it's considered relatively progressive, not radical, but the only reason why it's considered relatively progressive is because this country is, unfortunately, in the way that legislation passes in this country, is not very progressive.
This makes Barack Obama look mild and moderate. You look at what Joe Biden stood up there tonight and said. He said, number one, we're raising taxes. We're raising every tax. If you pay taxes in America, your taxes are going up. He said that they're going to raise individual income taxes, they're going to raise corporate income taxes, they're going to raise taxes on small businesses, they're going to raise capital gains taxes, they're going to raise the death tax. Every tax is...
Okay, he's not even wrong about the Obama thing, but like, he literally said the opposite of most of the things that he's saying. Wait, I guess, but to be fair, he is not lying because he actually didn't listen to Joe Biden's speech. As he admitted earlier here, he literally said, could you remember a single thing he said? No? Well, good, because I'm going to now lie about all the things that he said because I could not remember and I was falling asleep. That's literally what he's doing here, dude. It's hilarious.
And it's to the tune of trillions of dollars. Look at what Joe Biden didn't say tonight. He didn't say we're opening up small businesses. He didn't say we're getting people back to work. He didn't say we're getting kids back in school. Completely missing from his remark.
Wait, what? I mean, he did. He said America is on the recovery, finally, as a consequence of our incredible vaccination strategy. That was pretty much the... Okay, Ted Cruz literally didn't listen to the speech. I'm pretty sure jobs was a pretty big part of Biden's proposals and a pretty big part of, like, Biden's speech in general. It's so weird. He's just... Dude, I swear to God, dude, I love watching Fox News because it's like you get two different types of content. Like you get what actually happened when you watch the news or when you directly see what's going on. You see like the liberal, aesthetic focused bullshit side of things. And then you tune into Fox News and it's an entirely different thing that happened. It is literally the opposite of everything that happened. But on Fox News, that's what the news is. So it's like, it's fun. There is no, this way, there's no filler episodes. You know what I mean? There's no filler. It's always like you get the actual truth and then you hear what the Fox News version of events was. It's pretty funny to give the game away so early. He said everything you needed to know about what his point of view was when he basically mentioned that the speech was both boring but also simultaneously radical, right? That's everything. Like, you know, his policy positions are boring, but also they're destroying America. It's like, what the fuck?
Agenda that was set by Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders and AOC. It's the radicals and socialists. And what did he talk about also? The Corrupt Politicians Act, H.R. 1, a federal takeover of elections to keep Democrats in power forever. And he didn't once reject the radical Democratic...
He lost it. He's like, he didn't once what? What is he supposed to reject?
Reject the radical Democratic plan we saw introduced this last week to pack the U.S. Supreme Court with 4 new liberals. This was a frightening speech, and it was a frightening speech masquerading in really boring tones.
Listen, Texas Republicans, how are you going to have this guy represent you? I got to ask again, if you are a Republican in Texas, how the fuck do you vote for this guy, dude? You are such a fucking major cucklord. He doesn't even like give you any sort of like aesthetic benefit, you know? It's so bad, Texas Republicans. How the fuck is this the best your state can do? It's a permanent L, dude. It is a permanent fucking L.
It's actually a contrast. You know, Kyrsten Sinema, the other Democrat from Arizona, has shown some real courage. She and Joe Manchin are the 2 Democrats who are the only thing standing between...
Yeah, showed some true courage, as in literally fucking preventing progress that would help the people of Texas, as well as the people of the United States of America, from going through, from pushing through. The only courage that they demonstrate from a Republican POV is that they throw their bodies on the line so that we don't think about how Republicans are also preventing progress from happening. That's it. That is courageous, because they would rather take all the fucking shit like a lightning rod instead of Ted Cruz. That's it. Well, let's hear what Meghan McCain reactions.
I'm going to give you guys a little bit of insight into how Republicans think. There was a concern when President Biden was elected that despite his almost 40-year career in Congress as a centrist, that he would govern as a progressive, that he was sort of this Trojan horse for progressive policies. I had faith he wouldn't be that.
Why is Meghan McCain on The View advocating against like the policies that Biden put forward? Someone needs to ask her, like, what are the issues that you have, really? Can you please explain to me? I want to know what adult Jojo Siva has to say about, I don't know, childcare, universal pre-K, free community college. I need to know why those things are bad. Okay, don't do Jojo like that. Sorry.
Seeing what he said last night, that faith has gone completely out the window. This is by far the most progressive speech of any modern president, I think, since LBJ. The answer to every single problem in the United States of America is to write a check and bankrupt my generation in the process. And if you don't believe me,
Oh my God, they're doing it. They're literally doing it. They're going back to the fucking old school. Oh my God, we're going to bankrupt the future generation rhetoric. This is great. In the post-Trump era, as long as Democrats do not cave, do not give even an inch to this kind of idiotic fucking deficit hawk rhetoric, they will literally never lose elections. I'm sorry. Let the idiotic Republicans stray away from talking about Mr. Potato Head's penis and move towards talking about how it's actually bad that although you are suffering right now, the government, which has the capability of helping you, should not. That is a great place for Democrats to be at. That is a gift, as long as the Democrats don't become austerity freaks themselves. Okay?
Because I'm conservative, believe the New York Times. They said, quote, Biden, a lifelong centrist, has moved leftward and moved the biggest expansion of American government in decades. And he's getting praise from people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I think that he is showing himself to be someone who I think there's questions if he's going to run for president again.
Look, not a single mention of the actual proposals at all. What are we upset about? AOC said nice things about Joe Biden. That is not a way, like, this is not how you're supposed to do political commentary. Okay, it's The View. I'm not expecting too much, but that's precisely what Ted Cruz was doing as well, because they also understand that if you were to turn around and look like idiotic Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee and say, I hate elderly care, how dare you give money to the elderly, fuck you, then people are going to be like, wait a minute, why do you have a problem? So that's why instead of actually addressing like the PRO Act, for example, they have to stick to AOC said nice things about Joe Biden. I want to hear the big brain trust over at the Daily Wire talking about fucking how the working poors are getting away with not paying as much taxes.
He's talking about taxes because what he is saying is so obviously asinine. When he says that rich people don't pay their fair share in this country, that is just an abject, disgusting lie. It is.
Oh, God, dude. That's fucking great, dude. That is really fucking good. I love this clip already. He started it off by, he started off by saying, like, it is preposterous that people say rich people don't pay their fair share in taxes.
Because what he is saying is so obviously asinine. When he says that rich people don't pay their fair share in this country, that is just an abject, disgusting lie. It is a lie. The top 10% of income earners in this country pay all net taxes, not some of the net taxes, all of the net taxes, because net taxes are defined as what you pay into the government minus what you get back from the government. So if you get back from the government more than you paid in, this means that you were not a person who paid net taxes into the government. Only the people at the top of the spectrum are paying net taxes in this country.
First of all, what a way to measure how people pay taxes. What a way, not the burden on the individual with respect to their net revenue that they've generated that entire year, but with respect to how much people are paying in versus what they're getting out. What an incredible fucking way to look at how tax policy works, dude. That is fucking awesome. That only means that rich people are making so much fucking money. They're making so much goddamn money that it literally doesn't matter if they're fucking investing it back. Oh, your value is what you bring to the states, except by that fucking standard, Ben Shapiro should be crying about red states every fucking day because they are the welfare queen states, technically. They are the welfare queens of states. Like every fucking conservative Republican state is taking so much more from the federal budget than they give back in taxes. So what the fuck does that say? That's not how we operate. Okay, let's keep it going.
All of the net taxes in this country. When he says they're not paying their fair share, the only thing he means by they're not paying their fair share is it should be nearly all of your income goes to the federal government. And when
Oh, wait, actually, yeah, he's right. It should be nearly all of your income that goes to the federal government. That would be fair because that's literally what happens to the American working class, okay? Not nearly all of your fucking income, but it's damn near goddamn close of what you have remaining. So yeah, in that respect, that would be fair. The tax burden for someone making less than $100,000 or $125,000 a year is tremendous. With respect, oh, Jesus Christ, what fuck? Fix it. Like, we're not talking about 37%. Anyways, keep going.
When he says things like, I'm not going
That's
to
the
tax
same
anybody
age
who's
as
making
most
under
of your
$400,000 a
children.
year. He is lying to you through his teeth. When he says I'm going to tax corporations, corporations are not human beings for purposes of taxes. The money...
Oh, they're not. Oh, corporations are not human beings. That's interesting. Wait, so what's up with the fucking Citizens United, motherfucker? All of a sudden, when the tax man comes around, corporations are not human beings. Everybody knows this. But when it comes to writing legislation directly, corporations obviously have to be treated like human beings because their interests are very important. They're far superior to the interests of the American public. Wow, dude. That's why he said not human beings for the purpose of taxes, because they are human beings when it comes to writing legislation or directing the legislative agenda. Woo! Oh man, dude, he is so fucking good, dude. This is a brilliant take. All of this is, every part of this is fucking great, dude. What an absolute freak.
that would have been passed on to you via income is being taxed up here. That money is now being withdrawn from the system and taken away from you. Corporations are going to have to raise prices in order to deal with the taxation effect.
Totally.
When he says that I'm going to tax all of these rich people on their capital gains taxes, what do you think those rich people are going to do rather than put their money in the stock market where they get taxed on capital gains? They're not going to put their money in the stock market. So what happens to your 401k if you're a union member or a teacher's union member?
Oh, wow. Yeah, because right now when they do that, it's working great. Yeah, rich people are just not going to invest, dude. I'm sorry. Rich people are just not going to invest in the stock market. So what the fuck happens when rich people invest in the stock market to the working poor? And this is why I've talked about this before, like the privatization of a significant government function, a social safety net that should be there for all elderly people, Social Security, becoming privatized slowly but surely by like changing pension plans, which already have like a fuckload of problems to begin with, into 401ks, creates a system where you, the average layman, everyman, the average Joe, think you have a vested interest in the stock market or a legitimate controlling stake in the stock market. And to a degree you do, because of the way that gains are privatized, whereas losses are shared and socialized in our current organization of the economy. So you, as a motherfucker making $75,000 a year, think like, well, my retirement and my future is in this 401k, and my 401k needs to do well, so we have to fucking make sure the stock market is doing well. Whereas when we're talking about the real stake that the Americans have in the stock market, the top 10% of wealth in the United States of America own 90% of the stock market. Only 55% of the country actually has a real stake, or 55% of the country does not have a real stake. Some 55% own stocks, but that doesn't necessarily mean like having a controlling interest or any sort of like significant fucking interest in the stock market at all. So when Ben Shapiro talks about capital gains hurting everyday, capital gains taxes increasing, hurting everyday Americans, when Benny Boy says that, he can't actually address the truth, which is that only top 10% of wealth in the United States of America will see, I guess not even fucking harm, but we'll see an additional tax burden on this. So he has to say your 401ks are going to be impacted because the rich are going to pull back their money. Okay, where are they going to put it? The part of this that I get very frustrated by, the concept that I get very frustrated by here is that like motherfuckers will always talk about how this is the perfect system that we exist under, and then literally say that the wealthy collectively have a gun pointed to the fucking head of the American economy and that we are held hostage by their demands all the fucking time. And then they're like, oh, it's the best. It's the best, though. It's the best system. Bro, if perhaps your best defense against increasing government spending, your best defense against raising taxes is the rich people will simply fuck off and go somewhere else with their money, then maybe it's not the best fucking system, and maybe we should create a workaround around that. Like punishing people that actually do this. Like, how are you going to sit there and be like, this is the greatest thing. Capitalism is incredible. It's so innovative. It's so great. Also, rich people literally fucking own the entire government. Rich people literally own the entire economy. And as a matter of fact, if we don't abide by their extremely ridiculous standards and consistently lower their tax burden, they will go away. This is a good system. How are they generating that wealth? Well, they're generating that wealth by exploiting labor. But that's besides the point.
What do you think happens to all the other 50% of the population who are invested in the stock market right now? And what happens to the businesses that hire you when Joe Biden decides that your boss needs to be taxed out of existence in order so that he can determine where the dollars go? This jackass who's never created a single job in his entire life.
The people who don't pay their fair share in this country are the poor. We need to raise taxes on the poor. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. The poor in this country pay zero. The lower middle class in this country pay net zero. So we have a group of people who pay no taxes. a group of people who pay no net taxes, a group of people who pay all the net taxes. And his argument is that it's category 3 who don't pay their fair share.
Bro, this is great. I love that. No, I love that. This is great. We need conservatives to say this stuff. Stop throwing question marks at this. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. This is a gift. This is literally a gift. When conservatives come out and straight up say this shit, it's wonderful, dude. It's so liberating. Like, it's great that you don't have to have that conversation. He's basically expanding on Ben Shapiro's take. Ben Shapiro is too smart to say it out loud like that, but that's great. That is actually what he is saying.
Or percentage of taxes. We've determined that there are some people who shouldn't pay any percent of taxes. The only fair taxing system is one in which everyone pays.
Oh, you make $10,000? Uh-oh, you're a net drain to the government. Please pay $12,000 in taxes to cover the public education and healthcare we give you. Like, what is this guy saying? That's what he's saying. He's basically stating that, like, if you get money back from the government and you're very poor and you are going to get a refund, then you're a net burden. Well, that does not fucking compute. That does not even begin to compute how wealthy people make their money. That does not add on. There is no way to fully calculate how much a CEO is benefiting from the infrastructure more so than like the average fucking citizen. You understand? There's no way to calculate that. There's no way to work that math. I don't know if I'm making myself very clear here. Like, assuming that the average citizen utilizes like, I don't know, $10,000 worth of government funds on a daily basis because they're going through roads and fucking all this other shit, utilizing the infrastructure that's being built is one thing. But you can never compute exactly how much a wealthy person is taking advantage of it. If you especially think about wealthy people just like poor people, like they're just only driving in the same roads. No, motherfucker. What about the truck that's driving on that road? You know what I mean? The truck that he owns. What about the infrastructure that was built, that the high-speed internet, the high-speed broadband access that like fucking stock trader relies on? Do you see what I'm saying? That was built with government money. What percentage of that directly benefits wealthy people? You cannot fucking figure that out, which is why this kind of conversation about like the net benefit or the net taxes, net revenue taxes, or whatever the fuck they're talking about is idiotic. Okay, it's completely idiotic. It's not really used that much. And the real problem is the burden, the tax burden that a wealthy person has in comparison to poor people. Some of the more direct examples of this, for example, is Walmart employees and what percentage of Walmart employees literally rely on government subsidies like food stamps to survive. Without welfare policies, Walmart would not be able to get away with paying them bottom of the barrel prices. That is a direct way that Walmart is benefiting from government policies. Then there is indirect ways, obviously, like the roads that fucking Walmart trucks drive on, the internet that Walmart uses. Feel me?
Look at the right hand. So
all right, let's hear what this fucking caveman had to say about...
don't see what the left hand is doing. And here's one thing that I will say as far as the macro point of view. First off, you have to go back through this speech and ask yourself, and most people don't ask themselves this. This is the problem we have with a country when you have people, particularly now you have a generation coming up of people who have been brought up to vilify businesses, brought up to see race as the sole differentiating factor, brought up to not contribute or not at least think that their contributions should create a net result, that they should, I'm trying to be as reductive as possible. And I say this because sometimes you'll get people on these panels, and let's be clear, with CNN right now, what do they have to do? They have to use as many words as possible to make as few points as possible. Yeah. Some producers doing this stretch out the time. It's really simple. If you look at Donald Trump's speech, any of his speeches, it was, hey, we're giving the power to you, we're giving you more freedoms. If you look at this speech, it's, we're going to take them away for your own good. Look, all the things that they vilified Donald Trump for, reducing taxes, encouraging economies to reopen, right? With the pandemic, reducing red tape and regulations. You're welcome for the vaccines. Also lower drug prices than we've ever seen in modern American history. Yep. No new wars, right? Let's create some relief for businesses. Not give them money, but create an economy. Give them tax breaks. Hey, you're welcome for a $5,000 average annual increase in 3 years. 5 years under Barack Obama, $1,000 under former Vice President Joe Biden. If you look at, what's important is to distill this, to be reductive, which I think is important because maybe some of you watching this right now saying, hey, I'm mad at Joe Biden. Well, don't get mad because you see me bad at doing an impression of Maxine Waters as Animal from the Great Muppet Caper.
It was good.
If you want to be mad because you go to loudofcloud.com, check the sources. We have Congress.gov. We have WhiteHouse.gov.
Link in
we
the
have Forbes.
description.
We have Washington Post. We have Vox. The link is in the description.
What?
Get mad because you've researched it. But again, what's important is to look at why people are mad. Not just what the one person is saying, but who their enemies are.
Why is he sniffing so much, bro? Kind of sus.
The enemies of Donald Trump, the people who were mad with Donald Trump, what they were mad at is he's reducing taxes. Okay, listen, you're mad at more freedoms. You're mad at...
I love when there isn't really too much to talk about as far as a speech. That's how you can calculate whether a speech was effective or good overall, by how much the opposition chooses not to talk about it and instead it covers like other random shit. It's just like totally complete ridiculous tangent that is unrelated to anything that Joe Biden brought up.
People keeping more of their money. We're mad that he's encouraging states to reopen here. Okay, you're mad at people having more freedoms.
What?
We're mad.
Yeah, like again, not a single person is... What the fuck? Not a single person is mad at that, or that's not what fucking he said at all. Okay, I gotta pee. Hold on. Jesus Christ.
That he's actually creating an environment where people are investing more. We need to tax capital gains more. Why isn't he increasing capital gains? Okay, you're mad that he's offering people more freedom to make their own investments. Right? That's a start. So what are we mad about? We're mad about, is this a legitimate purview of government? That's what we have to ask ourselves. The only things that he vilified repeatedly in his speech were the legitimate purviews of government. He was saying it's the government's job to create shovel-ready jobs for you. It's the government's job to determine winners and losers in the market. It's the government's job to take half. Think about that for a second. They act like they're being a benevolent leader. Well, look, only 39%, that's fair. He acts like that's the legitimate purview of government. What is he not like? Cops and military. Cops and military. One of the few very basic, legitimate functions of government to keep people safe. Yeah. Again, you look at the Constitution, you look at the Declaration of Independence, you look at the Bill of Rights, you look at all of the... When you look at the legitimate purview of government, and you understand, okay, it's to keep the people safe. It's not to determine winners. Look, we're talking about founding fathers who... Okay,
this rant sucks. I love that he started off with the criticism that like, I can't believe Joe Biden is saying a lot without actually saying anything. And then his follow through was literally saying a lot without saying a single goddamn thing. He's just salty. Like the least you could do in this situation is maybe say something, you know? New JRE instead. Joe Rogan clarifies his vaccine comments. Oh shit. Spotify got to him, boys. Drama. Motherfucking drama, dude. I might fucking tweet this. I might tweet this one out, dude. It's been a while.